Ready.
What's up, guys? It's Beardo. We're going to do a little instructional video today on how to handle tarantulas properly and safely for both the keeper and the animal. We're going to go through a couple of methods that I've used over the past few years to pretty good success. Success, of course, being not having been bit with all the stuff that I've handled, so I think it works out pretty good. And going to show you guys how I do things, and hopefully you guys will learn some stuff and get some more people interested in bugs, which is always a good thing. So education and doing things safely is the main thing to keep in mind when working with arachnids, because even though they're not very dangerous, some of them do have venom, and they can be a little bit difficult to work with sometimes. So what we're going to do is, even though I don't really personally like handling venomous animals myself with bare hands, I was previously very staunch in that, mentality, but after thinking about it and thinking about how showing people that touching the animals with your bare hands sometimes can be a positive thing and can lift some negative, stigma that is attached to the animals, it can be a good thing, because, if I can show somebody that I can handle an animal like this with bare hands without being bit or without the animal looking aggressive, that's a good thing, because a lot of people think that all spiders are out to get you and out to attack you, and especially the big hairy ones. So this one is a almost fully grown female Honduran curly-haired tarantula, or Brachypelma albopilosum. So I'm going to show you guys the proper method to go about handling a tarantula with your bare hands, and also how to get one into a deli cup or container for cage maintenance or whatever you want to do. Works out pretty well for me. So now, the free handling methods I'm going to show work great for certain New World terrestrial species, such as the Brachypelma genus, Grammostola, rose hares, Chaco golden knees. I don't, under any circumstances, recommend that anybody use this sort of method with some of the old world species, like cobalt blues, any of the arboreal species, such as Pachylotheria. They're just too fast and too unpredictable, and the venom's a lot more potent than the New World species for me to recommend any sort of free handling at all. So this is what we're going to do. An important instrument to have is always going to be a long, thin instrument, such as a paintbrush. This is just a modified paintbrush without the brush tip. Chopsticks would work really well for this purpose as well. Now what you're going to do is, typically what you're going to do is touch the tarantula somewhere around one of the peripheral legs, just to gauge what the animal's reaction is going to be. Now if this animal were to act quickly and throw up a threat display, you're going to tell that it's probably in a pretty, testy mood. Now these guys are typically known for not being very, aggressive. They're pretty laid back. They're an easy spider to work with for the most part. That's why I'm doing it with this guy first. So basically, once you gauge, what the animal's reaction is going to be, she's pretty laid back. She's just kind of moving away from the stick. You can touch her on the abdomen very gently and kind of coax her one way or another if you have to. Then I'm going to place my hand down into the enclosure flat. You don't want to try and reach in. You don't want to reach in and grab at the spider. That's going to make them feel threatened and feel like a predator is trying to grab at them. Might elicit a bite response. She could fling hairs at me if she wanted to. That's another thing to think about when working with neuroterrestrial spiders, is that they do have the urticating hairs. And I'm sure that there's some in the webbing on the bedding, so I'm probably going to end up itching a little bit after this. But, some people react differently than others do to it as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and coax her onto my hand very gently using the chopstick. Now sometimes with these guys it can be a little easier said than done. Oftentimes they kind of just want to sit there and they don't really want to move. Some spiders it's easier to do with than others. If you're not having real good luck with the chopstick method, you can use your flat other hand, the flat of your hand, to kind of just kind of coax it onto it. Sometimes, like now, you can see she's just kind of being shy and not wanting to move a whole lot, so, which is, better than her freaking out, wanting to run away or bite. That's always a good thing. Come on. That's another thing when dealing with live animals, is that they'll oftentimes never do what you want them to do when you want them to do it. Come on. Come on. Sometimes you can get underneath of them and just kind of scoop them up. That works too. Come on. And that is how you successfully pick up a tarantula without harming the animal or yourself. She's kind of holding her legs out like that because my skin is definitely a foreign, feeling to her, as opposed to the substrate of her cage. A lot of times they'll do that. Sometimes if you place them in a cage that has wet substrate, they'll do that too. It's just them. Their feet are sensory organs. They don't really, they use their hairs in their feet, kind of like how we use our ears and eyes and smell all at the same time. So, alright, I'm just going to place her back very gently. When dealing with these guys, you always want to make sure that you use slow, gentle, deliberate movements. Anything quick, these guys have pretty good sensory perceptions. You don't want to move in quick at them or anything like that. You can startle them, elicit negative responses, that sort of thing. Now, anytime after handling or putting your hand in the cage of any kind of New World terrestrial tarantula, you always want to make sure, like I've probably got some hairs on my hands just from sticking my hand in the enclosure at all. Never touch your eyes, touch your nose, touch your mouth. Go to the bathroom. Don't do anything like that until you've, washed your hands or, done something to help get the what hairs might be on your hands off. I can already start to feel I'm kind of itching a little bit from it, so, but it's not that bad. So we're going to take a break. I'm going to go and get my hands cleaned, and then we're going to show you guys how to get a spider into a container using pretty much the same methods I use. But if you don't want to touch the spider, or if you're in a rush sometimes, coaxing the spider in the hand doesn't work, I'll show you guys how to do that using a deli cup and chopsticks.